Start, Glenis.
Dear friends, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you today. I am Glenis Joseph from Chennai, India, chairperson of the Cardijn Community India. On behalf of the Cardijn Community India, we welcome all of you to this online meet on ecology, environment, and climate crisis as part of our efforts to respond to the cry of the earth. One aspect of our core mission is to work towards building harmony between humanity and nature. We have with us today a cross-section of people ranging from youth organizations, students, NGOs, civil society organizations, human rights defenders, trade unionists, religious priests and nuns, environmental activists, social activists, and CCI members from India, and a few from Ivory Coast, Africa, Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Europe, who are joining in this program today. We must say that your very presence here today gives us a new hope that a change towards reversal of the climate crisis is possible. Before we go any further, we would like to introduce to you our speaker for today, Reverend Dr. Rayappa Kasi. A special and hearty welcome to you, Father. Father Rayappa Kasi is a Catholic priest from the Vellore Diocese in Tamil Nadu, India. Besides working in India, he often goes around the world to give lectures on global warming and environment, particularly to the younger generation. Father Rayappa has written 15 books on ecology and environment and has produced many videos which are available on YouTube. Father Rayappa Kasi became committed to the defense of life after reading the book, The Diversity of Life by Edward O. Wilson, the Harvard biologist. Father Kasi claims that he draws his inspiration to protect environment from Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam. After the Copenhagen Summit on Climate Change in 2009 that ended without any positive result, Father Rayappa Kasi decided to intensify his campaign on environment, hoping to convince people of the potential of their potential to make a difference. We thank Father Rayappa Kasi for having agreed to be here this evening and speak to us on how to respond to the cry of the earth. We also welcome Ms. Catherine from Malaysia, who will be assisting Father in his PowerPoint presentation. Welcome, Ms. Catherine. We welcome Reverend Father S. Savasius, International Chaplain of CCI from Nagercoil, Kota Diocese. Welcome to you, Father Savasius. Before Father Rayappa Kasi starts his presentation, we welcome Mr. Ruben Joseph, International Coordinator of CCI, to say a few words about our network. Over to you, Mr. Ruben Joseph.
Thank you, Glenis. Dear friends, Cardijn Community India, known as CCI, is an affiliate of the Cardijn Community International. We are a networking community of people and a civil society organization working towards sustainable development. Our core mission, as Linus pointed out, is to work towards harmony between humanity and nature. CCI is a society with a view to train the younger generation, passing on our experiences from the Cardijn movements. The core competency of CCI is its ability in review of life based on see, judge, and act methodology that was promoted by Cardinal Cardijn. Cardijn was a Belgian priest who founded the International YCW in 1925. He also inspired many other movements for children, young people, students, workers, agricultural workers, industrial workers, young workers, and various other groups. Members of these movements have contributed to the socio-economic, cultural, and political changes in various countries around the world. Particularly, they participated actively and were martyred also in the liberation struggles in Vietnam, South Africa, and Latin American countries. During World War II, more than 50 of our members who were in the YCW, YCS, and other Cardijn movements were incarcerated in the concentration camps, the Nazi concentration camps, and many of them died in the concentration camps, including the two founder members of the International YCW, Ferdinand Tonnet and Garce from Belgium. In the year 1945, they died in the Dachau concentration camp. Likewise, many animators and young people also died and also were incarcerated. They were released, many of them. Nelson Mandela, who participated in the International YCW World Council in 1995, had this to say. He said, it was a great privilege for me to associate myself with the YCW's long record of standing up against injustice throughout the world, including South Africa. Many of the members who were trained through these organizations are holding and held responsible positions in various spheres, in the political area, in the cultural area, social area. They were members of parliaments, ministers, trade union leaders, UN bodies, human rights defenders, and many other areas. They are actively participated, and also at present they are participating. The Secretary General of the United Nations, António Guterres, was also a member of the Cardijn movement for university students called JUC. Another Belgian YCW member, Luc Gartebrek, became the chairperson of the governing body of the ILO for 2017 and 2018. Charles Santiago, who was to be attending this webinar, is a member of Parliament of Malaysia from Klang constituency, who is also a resource person for CCI. Karl Hoffman, the third president of Mauritius, was a very active member of the International YCW. He was the member of the African team in late 60s of the YCW. Then he went on to work full-time for the organization. He went back to the country and involved himself. He became the president of Mauritius. And we are happy to tell you that the current one member of my international team, Jocelyn Minerva, was a former minister in the government of Mauritius. She was a social security minister. All this was possible because of the formation they received in these movements. Simon Gabanda of Zambia was a member of the technical committee to draft the constitution for Zambia. I can go on giving life testimonies of these people, but this is not the forum and we do not have much time. I just want to emphasize the methodology that we are following in the Cardijn movements and in CCI, the see, judge, and act methodology, which enabled such leaders to come up in life. And this methodology is now being followed by many organizations across the world, including the Catholic Church. In many of its encyclical popes in the history of time, they have adopted this methodology, see, judge, and act. Particularly, the latest pope, encyclical in his letter on called Laudato Si, care for creation and environment, about which our speaker will speak today also, was based on see, judge, and act methodology. For the Rayapakka, today's speaker will also present all his presentation based on this method of see, judge, and act. Before concluding, on behalf of the Cardijn Community International team, I congratulate India CCI for its efforts in promoting ecological education through their various efforts, and I thank them for this opportunity given to us to talk about the international CCI and about Cardijn. Over to you, Father Rayapakka. Now you can take the floor. Thank you.
Father, your mic is muted, Father.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you, Linus, for that beautiful introduction, and also Ruben, thank you so much for introducing me. And actually, our theme of today, responding to the cry of the earth, also involves another process that is very urgent right now. The present generation should be exposed to a new word here I'm using, adaptation. We are going to discuss responding to the cry of the earth, including the process of adaptation. So, earth is crying, and also humans, those who live in the earth, they are crying. Also, the whole creation is crying. So don't think when the earth cries, humans are not crying. They are also included. It is included because we live in the earth with the whole of creation. So don't think earth alone is crying. We are also crying. Other creatures, the living and the non-living, the technical word is abiotic for the non-living, biotic for the living. After all, the whole universe is made up of only two factors, non-living, living. Abiotic, biotic, that's it. So remember, abiotic is crying, at the same time, biotic world is also crying. So we need adaptation at every level. I want to start off with a quote by H.G. Wells. Adapt or perish, now as ever, is nature's inexorable imperative. That gives it away, our theme. That one quote can tell you what we are going to discuss. Next. This is the methodology I'm going to follow as I present this theme. Already Ruben gave it away. Responding to the cry of the earth involves 3 stages: see, judge, act. What are you going to see? The impact of climate change projected by IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the authority on climate change. So we are going to see some of them and judge them. I mean, just see and go home doing nothing. That is not the attitude here. We are going to do something about it. We will judge what are the causes, how can we interpret them, and how can we reverse them or undo them, etc., etc. The IPCC 5th assessment report, I am basing on the previous assessment report because the 6th assessment report is not available in full. Only one working group assessment report is available now. So I'm going to talk about it in another 2-3 slides. So I'm going to heavily on IPCC 5th assessment report to judge the impacts of climate change. And also I'm going to use Pope Francis's Laudato Si to interpret the impact assessment, and also we go to judge whether can we do it. Who is the cause? All of that factors we are going to usher in to judge what we see. The last one is action. Action involves few words here called adaptation, mitigation in environment, in society. You just watch in bracketed, I have written he, H-E, capital letters. I highlighted with red color. It is a secret. It is a secret. I am going to unravel it, disclose it only at the end of this PowerPoint. Yes, it's going to be a highlight of our presentation. I promise you. So it's going to be a surprise. It is going to be a new idea for you. So H-E at this point is a mystery, also for me, also for you. I will disclose later. It is included in society mitigation, all right. And the last one is economy. These are the 3 giants. The environment is one sector, society is another sector, economy is another sector. So we need to mitigate the impact in the environment, impact in the society, the impact in the economy, and we need to act. So actions also in environment, society, economy. Next. Now the proposed themes, Linus, I don't know who are involved in this processing this information to me. Actually, this questionnaire given to me by Linus. So I'm heavily basing on this as I present this theme. So already Linus gave me inspiration through these themes. Just these are the themes I'm going to develop. So I want to read quickly so that you will understand what I'm talking about. What is climate crisis the world faces now? Number 2, evolution of the present crisis, its consequences of a personal and collective levels. All right. The 3, how are the countries and world bodies responding? Is there a way to reverse the trend? How to stop further deterioration of the environmental degradation? areas and avenues we as individuals and organizations can contribute to better the situation. Finally, humanity from here to where? It's a philosophical question. Linus, it is an amazing question. I like that. From here to where? It's a philosophical. That is where HE comes. So that is a secret for now. Next. The first question we are starting now, what is climate crisis the world faces now? IPCC puts it in black and white. The 3,949-page IPCC report is a code red for humanity. It's not a good news. Good news. Said António Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, on August 9, 2021. The second statement, I already written adaptation. In this slide, you understand the whole presentation in full clarity. That's why I'm going to explain this slide little more so that you will understand. If you understand this slide, the rest is very easy. You see on the top, that is the problem. Code red for humanity is a problem for all life on earth, especially for humans. It is known in ecological terms as limiting factor. That is the word you should remember. So adaptation and limiting factor, those two go together. Remember that. So the first part of the IPCC statement talks about limiting factor. It is loosely translated as problem or obstacle to life. So the second part, this report must get coal and fossil fuels before they destroy our planet. That is the adaptation process. You know, why code red for humanity? How did it come? We are asking a question. So the main cause is burning of coal and fossil fuel. They created enormous amount of greenhouse gases, and then now we are facing climate change and code red for humanity. So if at all change could come as a adaptation, it should come first in this sector, the coal and oil and fossil fuel. We should reduce immediately. Stop coal burning, stop fossil fuel burning immediately. We should not wait another year, right now. So that is the adaptation process. I hope you understood this slide. I think the rest is easy. Next. Now in Laudato Si, Pope Francis is writing the same thing in 2015. I mean, this was said August the 9th, 2021. Look at Pope Francis. He wrote in 2015 Laudato Si, paragraph number 165. He calls it energy transition as an adaptation. I want to read 165. We know that technology based on the use of highly polluting fossil fuels, especially coal, but also oil, and to a lesser degree gas, needs to be progressively replaced without delay. But the international community has still not reached adequate agreements about the responsibility for paying the costs of this energy transition. Next slide. Next slide is going to show you what can we expect in the future? The temperatures. When you see this graph, I think it sends the chill. I mean, I am really afraid to see this graph. And it is code red for humanity. You may not understand the graph as well, but I'm going to explain in the next slide what this graph is about. Next slide. By 2030, there will be 2 degrees Celsius increase in the atmosphere. Today, there is 415 parts per million carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. By 2030, it might reach to 500 ppm of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere if we continue the business as usual model. In other words, if you don't do anything, you allow the business as usual lifestyle go forward, this is the outcome. 2 degrees Celsius by 2053, by 2100, 5 degrees Celsius. It's almost half cooked, not half cooked, 3/4 cooked. So already we are 50% in the cooking level. We are going to reach very soon 3/4 of boiling point. So this is not a ordinary stuff we are talking about. We are playing with code red for humanity, for all life on earth, including humans. I should put it that way. Next. Excuse me. The talk, I'm going to talk a lot of things in general for the world, for all those participants, those who take part from different part of the world. Of course, my talk is in general, but at the same time, I'm going to emphasize South Asia, where I live, where most of the participants come from. So South Asia means it includes 8 countries actually. So let us, India is one of the South Asian country. There are participants from Southeast Asia, East Asia, Oceania, Africa, so on and so forth. So here is South Asia, what IPCC is saying. I'm going to read for you. South Asia to bear the brunt of worsening global climate, one of the planet's most vulnerable regions to climate change. IPCC warns. IPCC says all the countries in the world are going to face climate change, but South Asia will be the epicenter. Epicenter. This is what the projections from the IPCC. The IPCC's 6th assessment report, known as the IPCC 6AR, that is what they published on the 9th August 2021, is the latest in a series of reports that assess the science of climate change, its impacts, and its risks. Here are the takeaways, important messages. Global warming is expected to reach the dangerous 1.5 centigrade to 2 centigrade level as early as the 2030s. Vulnerable South Asia needs to mount stronger climate defenses. The world is expected to get warmer much faster than previously expected. Rising temperatures will lead to dangerous weather extremes. Next. Known as the rain bombs, that is what we are experiencing for the past 5 or 6 months in South Asia. The phenomena in the weather, what we are experiencing, even today in Bangalore, I'm sitting in Bangalore, for the past 8 days, there were rain bombs. Rain bombs. Extreme weather events turbocharged by climate change will not stop or even slow down. Our region will be hit by rising sea levels, heat waves, drought, and more intense and frequent bouts of rain, known as rain bombs. Heavy rain events will intensify by 7% for each degree of global warming. Hey, now you got the point, no? 5 degree means 45% increase in the bouts of rain. That is too much. 7% we can't take it. When we reach 2 degrees, it will be 14%. It increases. 5 degree at the turn of the century, we will be looking at 45% increase in the bouts of rain. But it's going to anticipate. They are telling 2100, but they are going to tell you probably the 7th assessment report. After 5 years, they are going to tell it's going to happen by 2050. The same thing they're going to tell. It's going to happen before than what we expect. Next. In Laudato Si, Pope Francis is writing, we should adapt. That is the most important word to note. More precious still is the service we offer to another kind of beauty, people's quality of life, their adaptation to the environment, encounter, and mutual assistance. So this is the teaching from the head of the Christianity. What is adaptation? So we have to look into that. That is what we are going to discuss right now. Next 2 slides I'm going to skip. It's a repetition. You can read afterwards. Paragraph number 147 and paragraph number 25 of Laudato Si, you read afterwards. And we are going to what IPCC stands for. Next. Many people want to know what IPCC stands for. It stands for Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. It's a United Nations organization, and they are the authority of predicting the future climate. There have been 5 reports already published. The last one was 2013, known as the 5th assessment report. So I think the 6th assessment report will be more scarier. It's going to be more deeper. The 5th assessment is a shallow, we can call it. Here we can call it deep. In other words, that is less dangerous, but here it's going to be low. I mean, it's extreme dangerous predictions or projections are going to be in this assessment. That's why I put on highlighted on a red color. Next. The IPCC assessments and reports prepared by 3 working groups actually. Working group 1, that is what available now. So I am basing myself on this first working group report for the discussion of today, which is known as the physical science basis of climate change. August 9th, sorry, not 10th, 9th. The working group second, really an eye-opener for humanity, which is going to talk about impacts, adaptation processes, vulnerability. It will be available only in February of next year, 2022. So now I am going to depend on the 5th assessment report for the working group 2. The working group 3, it is on mitigation of climate change. What can we do? What individually, what collectively, what can we do? It will be available only in March 2022. So these are the methodology of the IPCC. Next. And also IPCC has published a separate document for South Asia. I told you the most evil of climate change will be perpetrated on South Asia. In other words, the epicenter of the climate change will be in South Asia. So that's why they prepared a separate document, how to face it, how to adapt to the impact, and how to act. Everything is available in this report. It is titled as the IPCC's fifth assessment report. What's in it for South Asia? You can Google and you can download the whole document. It's absolutely free. Okay, next. What are the South Asian countries? You must be wondering. It includes the countries of Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Pakistan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, and Maldives. Next. So the major climate risk index, that is the IPCC report notes that India was ranked 7th in a major climate risk index of 2019 that we cannot ignore. Next. This is the map showing what are the highly impact nations by climate change. India, Madagascar, Japan, Canada, all those countries are highly vulnerable, highly vulnerable. Next. Now the second theme, the evolution of the present crisis, its consequences at a personal and collective level. How did we get here? How did we end up like this? Many scientists think it started industrial revolution phase, 1856. That was the cause, main cause. Then came Green Revolution in 1960s. These two revolutions are really have destroyed the land, the water, the air, all forms of life. So these two factors are responsible for the present crisis. This is the evolution of the present crisis. IPCC puts it in another terms, using another terms. It's called human activity. That is the IPCC term. Yeah, human activity. In other words, humans. Let us put it directly. Why do we want to blame indirectly? Industrial revolution, green revolution, human activity. We escape from our responsibility. These are the words that tell us you escape. You are not responsible. They are responsible. But humans are the cause. They are the cause. You and me, your fathers, your mothers, your grandfathers, great-grandfathers, these are the people responsible. We know them. We know their phone number. We know their email ID. We know where they live. Everything we know. So we are talking about 8 billion people on the planet. Humans have caused almost 100% of global warming, says new IPCC report. Next. So now I come to the point to explain what is the limiting factor, because we are entering now to discuss about adaptation. What kind of adaptation humans should do now? So in order to go much deeper into our theme, now how to explain what is a limiting factor or a major climate risk, it is translated. Actually, a limiting factor is anything that constrains a population size. It's an ecological term, all right? So we are discussing a little bit of ecology here. A limiting factor is anything that constrains a population size and slows it from growing. Limiting factors are usually expressed as a lack of a particular resource. For example, if there are not enough deer in a forest to feed a large population of tigers, then food becomes a limiting factor. Yeah, it's an obstacle for the life. So that is what the basic definition. We are going to apply this term to human actions and the human condition where we are facing limiting factors. What are the limiting factors humans are facing today? So that is what we are going to talk now next. This is the climate change projections, IPCC again. This is IPCC projections, limiting factors to soil. Droughts will occur more because soil will lose moisture. Due to an increase in temperature, there will be more water evaporation, which will in turn decrease soil moisture and lead to droughts, soil erosion, loss of arable soil, desertification, and the degradation of natural resources. Next. This quote is a beautiful quote, Theodore Roosevelt, a nation that destroys its soil destroys itself. Next. Now I'm going to show you a world map where the soil is degraded and also prone to desertification. So you look at India, almost all India is highly vulnerable to desertification. China too, highly vulnerable to desertification. All those red color, highly vulnerable to the desertification because of the quality of the soil. Next. Now in the water, limiting factors to water, extreme weather events like heavy precipitation leading to floods and landslides, frequent sea storms and cyclones already happening, glacial melting, sea level rise, acidification of oceans, urbanization and pluvial flood potential where extreme precipitation is projected to increase. Next. Michael Schellenberger, he says there is a way out. We have got experience from other countries. Already this kind of happened in the past. So we have learned lessons. We have good experience to come out of it. That's a good quote. I want to read it for you so it gives you hope. We have good examples of successful adaptation to rising sea levels. The Netherlands became a wealthy nation despite having 1/3 of its land mass below sea level. That is wonderful. Okay, I am encouraged now. So you too can enjoy this quote because it calls to hope. Hope humanity can do. Next. Now in air, atmosphere, increase in temperatures 1.5 to 2 degrees, already we have seen it. Increase in greenhouse gases input, CO2 reaching 415 parts per million right now, methane input increase, runaway greenhouse effect, extreme heat waves causing wildfires in Australia, for example, lot of wildfires. Next. Laudato Si, paragraph number 60, Pope Francis is really reflecting on what's going on the planet. So his quote summarizes everything what we have been discussing so far. Next. This quote summarizes everything what we have been discussing so far. If we scan the regions of our planet, we immediately see that humanity has disappointed God's expectations. We can't summarize anywhere better than this. This is ultimate summary of what we have been discussing so far. Next slide. We are going to the third subheading. How are the countries and world bodies are responding. When limiting factors pose a threat to life, only two options are available: perish, adapt. That's it. There is no in between, only two. That was the first quote I read it for you by S.G. Wells, you remember? Perish or adapt. So it is our choice. If you want to perish, our choice. If you want to adapt, we can survive into the future. So only two. Next. There are 195 countries in the world, so everybody knows about what's going on. They know the limiting factors that humanity and other life are facing. So there are a lot of global efforts. The international community has taken measures to fight the climate change. So already there is hope. They have been doing for the past almost from 1992, almost 40 years, they have been trying to address this issue. For example, Rio 1992, Kyoto, Japan, 97, Copenhagen 2009, Durban 2011, COP 25, 2015 in Paris, COP 26 is going to happen in Glasgow 2021. So this year, another I think it's going to happen November or December, I think. So just a month or two. So that is going to be a very, very important United Nations Convention on Climate Change, which is going to change everything. I think humanity can do it. That is the note António Guterres, the United Nations General, is giving. That means we have still time to reverse. That's a good news. So religions also, they are trying, all religions are trying their level best to combat the impacts of climate change, especially Christianity with Laudato Si, Quran, Islam, Avesta, Charanga Sutra, Jainism, Avesta is the Parsi religion, no? Zoroastrianism, Buddhist teachings, other religions, all of them are trying to change the present condition. It is a very, very warm feeling to know that religions also put themselves to act. Very good news. This is the good expression. This is the time we see the best expression of humanity. This humanity can never get better than this. When we face crisis as a global community, the politics, the religion, the economy, technology, society, everything come to undo the damages what we have caused so far. So I would call it a birth of new consciousness. Everybody out there listening right now, my talk, you have the goodwill of doing something. It is the spirit of the age. Everybody feels that we have harmed the planet. We got to do something about it. We have to undo the damage for the sake of the future generations and for all life on earth. Protect the abiotic and the biotic factors so that it will be a best investment for the future generations. That is the feeling you have right now. So that is the good news. Next. Is there a way to reverse the trend? Max McEwen puts it in a quote. All failure is failure to adapt. All success is successful adaptation. Next. What is the definition of life? We are going to very basic in order to survive, because it's about our survival. Now we have chosen, we are going to adapt. That is what I am assuming. All out there, you want to survive, I know it. So that's why I am assuming everybody is going to vote or subscribe to survival. So what is the definition of life? We are going to very basic now. The life is defined by consumption, reproduction, and adaptation. That is the shortest definition of life. All life eats, consumption, eating, reproduction, they care for their young. The last one is adaptation. We have been doing too well about consumption and reproduction. Those two processes, they don't need any explanation. Consumption going on well. Reproduction, no problem. 8 billion people on the planet. So no need of discussion. The last is the problem, adaptation. What is it? Zero. Zero. All the life forms, this process is built in. When there is no water, when there is no tree, birds will migrate. They will go. They won't stay in the same place. They will do something about it. But here, we don't do anything. No schools teaching about adaptation. We are business as usual. All those subjects just for profit making, just for the sake of making money and profit. But this is the most important education. If you are going to goof up in the adaptation level, we are losing everything, 8 billion people. That's serious. So I want to redefine what is the definition of life. The new definition is life is defined by adaptation. 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 That's it. Nothing more. Next. What is ecological adaptation? First, you have to understand in order to apply it to the human actions or human activity. The process or the state of adjusting or changing to become more suited to an environment. That is the first part of definition. It becomes a trait or a quality of a personality as a result of the process. All the organisms, the bacteria world, monera, fungi, plants, animals, all those kingdom of life, everything is built in this process. Nobody teaches a webinar for them. Nobody gives a presentation like this, sitting and learning. Everything is innate. It is an instinct. They do that. How do they do that? It's amazing. How come we goof up? Because we are distracted by consumption and reproduction. We have forgotten adaptation. That is the mistake. Too much emphasis on consumption, reproduction. We have completely sidelined the process of adaptation. Next. This is how our ancestors, our life was almost 4 million years. Look at the Australopithecus afarensis in Africa, Australopithecus boisei, Homo habilis with the big spear. He was the handyman, first technology. That was the birth of technology, science and technology. They invented tools. That's why they are known as Homo habilis. Then Homo erectus, Homo neanderthal, Homo sapiens. The Homo sapiens, the modern humans, that is us, sitting on the computer. So all these humans, they underwent a process called adaptation. Adaptation is the human success story that can be read in the present generation. You and me, 8 billion people on the planet, are the samples or examples of the successful adaptation. Because our ancestors, they faced the similar situations what we are facing today. But they never went to any school, no webinar, no presentations, nothing. How come they were able to do that? How come we are unable to do that? So that is the question I'm asking you. So our ancestors had wisdom, the same DNA, the deoxyribonucleic acid is running in the veins of each and every one of us. So there is innate feeling, we can do it. Next. Here is the India, the Indus Valley civilization. It collapsed sometime 1500 BC, it collapsed. So some of them survived. They employed successful adaptation. That is what India is all about. I am a copy or an example of the successful adaptation of my ancestors, those who lived in the Indus Valley. So the whole 1.4 billion people, those who lived in India, are the successful examples of adaptation. There is no doubt. So my point is, we can do it. We can do it. We have the ability and the experience because we faced many events like this before. So it is a built-in mechanism. It is somewhat innate, but stop the distractions and focus on adaptation. Stop the distraction of consumption, distraction of reproduction, and focus here. Next. What is the climate change adaptation? Now we are coming to the crux of the problem. This is the epicenter. The IPCC is describing what is adaptation. The IPCC definition is the process of adjustment to actual or expected climate and its effects. This is the first part of the explanation, the process of adjustment to actual or expected climate and its effects. Now there is the second part. Go to the next slide. The second part is through adaptation, societies and communities can seek to moderate the harm of current and future climate risk or to take advantage of new opportunities. Look at that. There is also opportunity. Adaptation is not something it's going to destroy you. Actually, it's going to teach you a new way of life. New technologies we can invent. Dump all the old economies, fossil fuel, car, airplanes. Come on, remove them and go for new way of transport system, new way of energy production, distribution, markets, new way of lifestyle, living altogether, new way of eating, new way of agriculture, new way of conducting business, etc., etc. So that is opportunity. That is IPCC definition. Next. Now, regarding take advantage of new opportunities, the last part of the definition, I want to give you a quote from China. Lovely quote. When the winds of change blow, some people build walls while others build windmills. Wow, wisdom of China. Wow, next. There are two types of adaptation. One is structural adaptation or physical adaptation. Another one is behavioral adaptation. That's it. If you understand both, the PowerPoint is over. Next. What is the structural or physical adaptation? This is ecological, okay, definition. We are going to apply this definition to the definition of adaptation little later. Structural adaptation or physical features of an organism like the bill on a bird or the fur on a bear. Structural or physical adaptation is one of the main processes that explain the observed diversity of species, such as the different species of Darwin's finches. Finches is a bird. Next. Look at the bird's beak, the bill. One is thick, that is the robust. That bird lives on a rocky habitat. The other bird lives on a woodland habitat. The bill, the beak is little shorter. The other one, the smaller one, probably lives on the bark, food available under the bark of the tree. That side is so short and the same time robust. So the last one depends on the flowers. So the bill is very sharp. Now same bird, it is a finch. But how come 4 birds have different kind of bills? because of their lifestyle, because of their. So this is the physical structure or the structural adaptation. The birds adapt according to their environment, in other words. Next. So now the behavioral adaptation. What is behavioral adaptation? Behavioral adaptation is when animals change their behavior, what they do to survive. As a result, their species can populate, reproduce, and grow. Next. This is the example, migration. Everybody knows it. That is the behavior because they don't have food in their habitat. So in order to survive, they fly south and north, far away places in search of food. So that is the behavior of an animal like turtle travels, whales, whale shark, reindeer, etc., etc. Next. So now we are going to apply. Charles Darwin, this is the ultimate quote. I think you should make by heart. So this quote is the theme. The whole theme can be packed in this quote. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. We should put it in our mind and heart. It comes from one of the greatest naturalists in the world has ever produced, Charles Darwin. Next. The process of adjustment to actual or expected climate and its effect. You know, that is the first part of the adaptation definition. I just read it for you, okay? Just first part of the adaptation, IPCC is the process of adjustment. Now let us apply structural adaptation to the first part of the definition, to the process of adjustment in, for example, this can be applied in ecology, okay? Because today ecology or environment, they are interchangeable because we are destroying environment for the sake of economy and for the humanity, society. So now our practices were so far unsustainable. That is the word IPCC is using. But now we should come to sustainable practice. That is adaptation. So in that way, already we are adapting all those United Nations conventions on climate change. They use the one word, sustainable development, sustainable development. In media also, people talk about sustainable development. So that is what the adaptation process. So now we are employing in environment. Come on, don't demand the resources more than environment can give. So we should balance our use and the nature's giving should be balanced. We should not demand the exceeding the ability of production. So that is what today's sustainable use. The second one is society. 8 billion people, they are not equal. There are poor, extremely poor, middle class, high class. So here, equity is very important. The resources should be shared by everybody equally. And mitigation also everybody should do. Every person individually in his home, in his office, in his working place, churches, mosques, temples, we have to mitigate the greenhouse gases, mitigate the climate change, society. It's a duty of every person on the planet. And then in economy, we have been opting the high economic growth model. 195 countries today, they want only high economic growth model. But 20 years ago, India was medium economic growth. 50 years ago, India was low economic growth model. It was sustainable. Medium already, we were really causing damages. Now, high economic model, only destruction, only destruction. It is not sustainable. These two models are not sustainable at all. That is what United Nations teaches us. High economic growth model, medium economic, not sustainable. Only low economic growth more sustainable. So we need to adopt balancing growth models. I'm not calling here low or medium. Balancing growth models. Today, technology destroys our planet. It's going to destroy our planet. Maybe we are going to drift into biological warfare where everybody dies. So what I'm telling you, we should differentiate two technologies. Pope Francis is talking in Laudato Si. One is called technological service. Another one is called technological dominion. Two different things. Technological service is helpful to other creatures, helpful to humanity. Dominion is just for the sake of buying it, owning it, buying big cars and every month new cell phone, mobile phone, the consumption is pushed to the extreme. Those are all dominion. We should denounce technological dominion. In other words, technology rules us, but services, we rule technology. That is the difference. We control technology. That is good. But technology controls us. Woo, bad, bad, bad. In response to actual or expected climatic stimuli and their effects or impacts. So keeping this in mind, we are bringing adaptation in those three structures. Next. Here is the small picture. Society, environment, economy. Three of them should progress together. Society and the economy should not progress leaving the environment behind. In other words, at the expense of environment, society should not progress. The economy should not progress. That is not the good model. That is business as usual model. It is called integral model. That means all the three progress together. That is the sustainable development. Nobody is being destroyed here. We need economy, we need society, at the same time we need environment. So three, the welfare, the upliftment and the welfare of these three is very important for the future generations. Next. So Laudato Si, Pope Francis writes this phenomena, just now what I explained, three should progress. Beautiful quote, 139. When we speak of the environment, what we really mean is a relationship existing between nature and the society, which lives in it. Nature cannot be regarded as something separate from ourselves or as a mere setting in which we live. We are part of nature, included in it, and thus in constant interaction with it. Fantastic. Next. So now, the Laudato Si 169, you can read it for yourself later on, all right? I don't want to read all the quotes here. Okay, go to the next slide. This is the second part of the definition. We have come. Now let us apply the structural adaptation to the second part of the definition. Through adaptation, societies and communities can seek to moderate the harm of current and future climate risk. One word, mitigation, that's it. Or to take advantage of new opportunities. We are going for green technologies. Our younger generation should be looking here. We should encourage our younger people to invent green technologies that will not cause ecological crisis, that will not destroy our future and our environment. Also, new opportunities we can create in the economy sector and the social sector in the environmental sector as well. So this is an opportunity. Climate crisis is an opportunity. It is not a matter of destruction, as many people would like to call it. For I see as opportunity and a chance to shooting to stars, to become more elevated. Our species is going to become more complex, elevated. We are going to become noble species. So that is what we have to see as an opportunity to flourish. We are going to see the golden age of humanity. So far, nothing of that thing humanity has seen. Here is the opportunity to create the golden age of humanity. Next. So one example I would like to give you, India. India has done it. Beautiful. Next. So India has done it, as I explained, the first part and the second part of definition, the structural adaptation or physical adaptation, India has done it. India is one of the few countries on the path to fulfill its promise to reduce emissions intensity of GDP by 33 to 35% by 2030. With 30% of non-fossil fuel electricity capacity, India is just 2% short of its 2030 target of 40%. Oh my God, this is a grand success for India. There is no doubt. We should give thumbs up for India. Again, India is a role model, how to do things, how to mitigate, how to employ structural adaptation, etc., etc. Next, look at the picture here. India was burning 60% coal for the industry, for the production purposes, but now only less than 30%. See the blue color coal? 27.4% India is burning. So that is a big change. 60% we were burning for our energy, but now only 30%. India is doing all green energy production, so only 2% is short of the 2030 target of 40%. So I think we can do it. We can do it by next year. We are fulfilling our promise made in COP 26. So next, that is one example I'm giving you. And also this is the opportunity. India is also aware that some low carbon development options may be less costly in the long run and could offer new economic opportunities. The second part of the definition. For example, the development of low carbon mass transit systems can boost economic productivity by reducing traffic congestion and can improve air quality, thus benefiting public health. This is a major opportunity India is creating. That is the good news. Next. And only in this sector we are struggling lately, in the agricultural sector. You know, a third of India's GDP is heavily dependent on agriculture. That is a large percentage. 1/3 of GDP produced by farming sector. So there are a lot of destructive farming, because it's known as the industrial farming. Fertilizer, pesticide is dumped in the soil, and we are killing the soil, and the future generations are going to pay the price. So I think in this sector, India needs improvement. So we have not yet done that. So it's a big challenge in the agriculture sector. It's waiting for us. Still we have time. We can do it maybe in 2-3 years' time. We can revamp our agricultural sector. Pope Francis is writing, next slide, about agriculture. You know, these popes in the past, they were writing about heaven, hell, purgatory, all this kind of metaphysical things. But popes are now writing about, they are replaced with soil, water, air. There is no purgatory, no heaven, no hell. replaced by soil, water, air. Pope is writing about agriculture, first time in the history. Planning a diversified agriculture and the rotation of crops, he calls it. Agriculture in poorer regions can be improved through investment in rural infrastructures, a better organization of local or national markets, systems of irrigation, and the development of techniques of sustainable agriculture. Next. The third largest polluter in the world is India. Yeah, that is the sinister side of India. The first is United States of America, the second is China, and comes India, third. Because of high economic growth, the outcome is pollution. At the same time, look at India in the green color. Yeah, third largest polluter in the world has established 125 national parks, 500 sanctuaries, 2 hotspots of biodiversity out of 34. And we have a sublime ethics available, promoted by indigenous religions, ahimsa, non-violence, satya, truth force, compassion, Arthasastra, a bioethical book written in 500 BC, Ashoka, all his rock edicts and pillar edicts are about conservation. And Mahatma Gandhi, everybody knows it. So India is a role model to whole world in the conservation and preservation of biodiversity and the biological wealth. It stands out, even though largest polluter, he is the greatest conservation efforts they take in a high level. So they are doing very well. Yeah, I'm very happy about India doing in the environmental sector. Next. This is the biodiversity hotspots. There are 34 hotspots in the world. India is having 2. Look at the East Asia and Far East Asia. Most of the biodiversity hotspots are in Asia. Look at them. Look at them. Look at Malaysia. Look at the Singapore and Thailand. All those countries, Laos, Indonesia. Wow, look at that. Look at Australia. There are 2 or 3 hotspots there. In Africa, there are about at least 4 or 5 of them. So India is having 2. That is the magic. That's a magic. We had at least 10 or 15, but we lost them. Unfortunately, we have 2. Don't worry about what has been lost. Worry about what we have. We need to protect it. Next. So now comes the areas and avenues we as individuals and organizations can contribute to better the situation. What can we do now? Adaptability enforces creativity, and creativity is adaptability. So that is what the IPCC definition about adaptation, opportunities. That is quote from Pearl Zoo. Next. Now, behavioral adaptation. I have got only a few slides. We are going to finish it soon. How many minutes I have? Can I get a glimpse of time frame? Maybe another 10 minutes. How many minutes I have? Can I have 10 minutes?
Yes, Father. Yes, Father.
Sure. Okay. Behavioral adaptation. We have finished structural adaptation. That's what we have been discussing so far. Now we enter into the behavioral adaptation. Gandhian village economics is known as for the sustainable future. In India, Mahatma Gandhi created 3 aspects or 3 processes in order to achieve sustainable future. He invented in 1905, but India, they have forgotten it. But the whole world is talking about it today, especially Pope Francis in Laudato Si. Every page he talks about Swadeshi, Swadeshi. He uses different words to describe, but basically this is the one. Even IPCC, they are promoting these three concepts for the sustainable future: Swadeshi, Swaraj, Sarvodaya. India has forgotten them, but whole world is now reminding to India now. Hey, we are following your Mahatma Gandhian village economics. So please listen to me right now what Mahatma Gandhi is saying. First principle called Swadeshi, which is called neighborliness or localism. The best word is bioregionalism. You can Google later and learn. You type bioregionalism, that explains what Swadeshi principle is all about. In short, Swadeshi means service to my immediate neighbor. That's it. Immediate neighbor in the front, back, right, left, above, and under my feet. It need not be a human. It may be a soil. Above, I have atmosphere. That is my immediate neighbor. I worry about the welfare of my neighbor called atmosphere. Greenhouse gases, do something about it. At the under our foot, our neighbor is not human, soil. It is poison. So clean it up. On your right-hand side, probably there is a tree. You take care of the tree. It is drying out. On the left-hand side, maybe a dog is suffering. Take care of him. In the front, maybe human, poor man. Take care of him. At the back, probably a small pond drying out. Frogs are dying. Fill the water. So your immediate neighbor is your concern. In today's terminology, it is used: act locally, think globally. Only immediate neighbor, that is my concern. Front, back, up, down, right, left. That's it. I'm not concerned about the second. That is his concern. So that is the way we change. That is called neighborliness, service to my immediate neighbor. The second is Swaraj. Swaraj means how I feel and how I view the world. If my inner Swaraj, inside, I am compassionate, loving, kind, outer world also is going to reflect good and loving, merciful. If my inner world is marked by greed, violence, selfishness, outside world is also reflecting the same. So that is self-rule. That is ethics. It means ethics. You should have righteousness, values, and moral behavior. This is very important. The last is Sarvodaya. Nothing, upliftment of all, welfare of all. In other words, the welfare of the non-living factors, the welfare of the living factors. So our future depends on the welfare of these two. That is Sarvodaya. Their upliftment becomes our human upliftment. If they are destroyed, we are destroyed. If they progress, we also progress with them. These are the three principles today. They are coming out on desktop. They are the main themes of international discussion, even Pope Francis. So these principles can lead to lifestyle change. It can lead to sustainable development. That is what everybody believes. Next. So these are the things you can do, try to do at least. Top options for reducing your carbon footprint. So you type today, reduce your carbon footprint. There is primary footprint, secondary footprint. You can read and learn about it. But here, some of the things I would like to tell you: live car-free. Don't buy cars. If you buy battery-powered cars, they don't pollute. Reduce one long-haul flight per year, at least those who travel too much. Go for renewable energy. Use public transport and refurbish and renovate your house for good ventilation and for good heat preservation. Vegan diet is very important because 20% of the greenhouse gases are produced just because of our non-vegetarian habit, which come out from animal farms, pig farms, poultry. All those animal waste is called methane. So they produce enormous amount of methane. In fact, there is a campaign called No Meat, No Heat. That is the new campaign. You can join in that and then reduce the meat consumption in order to reduce the greenhouse gases. Then go for heat pump technology. That is a new technology available, very efficient, without any electricity. You can run your houses, you obtain energy. Heat pump, it is known as. Improved cooking equipment we should invent immediately because we enjoy food consumption so much, but we are using unsustainable stoves and they require enormous amount of energy to burn. But that is the area where our younger generation can think and use some creativity to create some technologies that will not destroy our environment. And at last, renewable-based heating system, those who live in the cold climate countries. Next, I want to give you the 10 commandments. Speak up about adaptation. That is very important, especially younger generation. Only message, adaptation, nothing else. Power your home with renewable energy, weatherize, weatherize, weatherize. Invest in energy efficient appliances. You ask your salesman when you go to store next time, what are the energy efficient appliances which use less energy? Buy less, reduce water waste, become a vegetarian, reduce, reuse, recycle, reject, and react. 5R, buy better bulbs. Pull the plug. I'm going to pull my plug right now. Okay, next. Adaptation can achieve the following: risk reduction, exposure reduction, vulnerability reduction. At the same time, resulting in development, planning, practices. That is the outcome of adaptation. Next. IPCC 7 key messages on adaptation for South Asia. It is the summarizing main points. IPCC has given these 7 points on adaptation. Number 1, climate change poses challenges to growth and development in South Asia. Adaptation will bring immediate benefits and reduce the impacts of climate change in South Asia. Adaptation is fundamentally about risk management. South Asia has many adaptation options. That is an excellent note. We have experience. I already talked about Indus Valley civilization. Our human species taught us so many adaptations. So IPCC expresses hope and appreciates Asian people that they can come out because epicenter of climate change is Asia. So IPCC also expresses hope that we will come out. That's a good note. Next. Some low carbon development options may be less costly in the long run and could offer new economic opportunities for South Asia. That is in the economy level. South Asia stands to benefit from integrated climate adaptation, mitigation, and development approaches. That is in the technology sector. International cooperation is vital to avert dangerous climate change, and South Asian governments can promote ambitious global action. That is dialogue and cooperation. Next. So I'm going to now disclose. We have come to the last. I told you HE. What is HE? He. In the first slide, I told secret, mystery. I'm going to open it up. Open it up. I hope you are ready for that. This is the last point, humanity from here to where. This is Linus gave me this question. Among all the 7 questions, I like this question the most. It is very philosophical question. I love this question. I would love to answer. Renowned British physicist Stephen Hawking claims that time is running out for the Earth and humanity will need to leave the planet for its survival. The aggressive instincts of humans, coupled with the fast pace of growth in technology, may destroy us all by nuclear or biological war. Hawking had said that humans may lack the skills as a species to stay alive. Humans will need to leave the planet within the next 100 years to colonize another planet in order to survive climate change and its irreversible impacts. That is very, very not encouraging statement. It is very, very disturbing. It comes from one of the greatest prophet, the scientist and the prophet. I mean, it may be true. I wish it is not true, but it may be true because he is a renowned physicist who invented black holes. His mind goes far into the future. He's a smart man. Next. But I have found something. See here, next slide. Another planet is here, but explored till now. We don't want to go to Jupiter, Mars, or any other planet in the solar system. The planet is here itself. We can go to that planet and escape the calamity, known as Manidam. Manidam means humanity. Microcosm, it is known as. In Indian language, it is known as Pindam. Andam is the big universe, Pindam is the body. That is Tirumula definition. Or easy to understand, man himself is an ecosystem, or a man himself is a planet. I am a planet. There are 8 billion planets on planet Earth. It is also known as human ecology. C-H-E. I put it in red, red color in the beginning, H-E, which is expansion, is human ecology. It's our new planet to colonize. As we know, all the ecosystems are exploited beyond their ability to provide the resources. Only one ecosystem, that is Manidam, the human ecosystem, contains resources that can be given to these impoverished ecosystems to restore the balance. We find everything that is needed to ensure our survival and the survival of our planet well into the future. Next. Here is the planet I want to show you. Route to doom. These are the 4 trends that's going to destroy us. But yet, however, these are the 4 models they talk in the media, television, internet. These are the 4 going to save us. That is a delusion. Those 4 models are not going to save us. They are going to disintegrate further, destroy further. Economy, technology, politics, religion. This is excellent route to survival. You yourself, individual, the resources what you find inside, H-E, love of neighbor, Swadesh. That is inside you can find in this planet of man or woman, humanity. And Aram, ethics, it is known as Swaraj or ethics, we can call it. So we need the ethics. And we ended up as an ecological crisis. We lost the values, we lost the moral behavior, we lost the ethics, which is evident in climate change and ecological crisis. That is the outcome. Erosion of ethics is the outcome of ecological crisis. So we should go back to ethical life. The last is common good, sarvodaya, welfare of all. Only one species works for self-interest. Among all 2 million species of animals and plants, all of them work for common good of the ecosystem, common good of the universe. Only one species, Homo sapiens, works for self-interest. So this is the wrong route which caused all degradations. So I think work for the common good. This is a higher purpose. Human species can rise above their selfishness and then can work for common good. So that is sarvodaya. So this is the way we survive. This is a new planet. Right here, you can find it. You need not go to another planet in the solar system. Right here, you can change our dangerous condition called climate change. Next. So see here, this exactly that round picture shows like a planet. See, in the middle, economy is there. Society is there in the orbit. This is also elliptical orbit. As our planet is rotating in the elliptical orbit, human is also rotating in between economy, society, and environment, etc., etc. So we should really see as a planet. There is a possibility in this planet of a bright future, sustainable future, only in human self, that is in, of course, in economy and society and ecology. All the three should be balanced, progressing together, not at the expense of environment. Humans try to progress, that is the end of end, that is it. Always three of them should cooperate. Next, there are 8 moons also I found in this planet. The human is a planet. There are 8 moons. You know, Jupiter has how many moons? 4 moons. Saturn has maybe 2 moons. Each planet has their own moon. Our planet has 1 moon, but human planet has 8 moons. What are they? Ethics. That is the aram. That is a famous word in Tamil, which is broad. There is no translation available in any other language, only loosely translated as ethics or righteousness. The second moon, empathy, ahimsa, compassion. Third moon is humility, service to your neighbor. The fourth moon is equity, sharing. The fifth moon is justice to non-living and the living. And sixth moon is equality, sarvodaya, welfare of all. The seventh moon of humanity is hope, faith, values. The last moon is love, universal fraternity, solidarity, and social friendship. So these are the 8 moons of humanity. I think we can shine into the future, no doubt. Next. So we have come to the last now, I believe. Pope writes about human ecology here, 148. At times, a commendable human ecology is practiced by the poor, despite numerous hardships. The feeling of asphyxiation brought on by densely populated residential areas is countered if close and warm relationships develop. If communities are created, if the limitations of the environment are compensated for in the interior of each person who feels held within a network of solidarity and belonging. So he believes that only human ecology can heal the planet, not the technology, not the economy. Next. Laudato Si 156, only one word. Human ecology is inseparable from the notion of the common good. Next. Next. Okay, Jessica Hegdon puts it so beautifully. Adaptation, one slide back. Adaptability is simple. Adaptability is simple. Secret of survival. Simple secret. All right. Adaptability is simple secret of survival. Next. Benedict, in his own words, I change only future. He wrote, if you want to cultivate peace, protect creation. That's how Pope Benedict wrote. But for our context, I baptized into future. I'm good in baptism. So if you want to cultivate future, protect creation. So that concludes my presentation. I'm going to pull my plug now. So when you go home or when you go out of the house, don't forget to switch off. That is adaptation. Don't forget to switch off your air condition. Don't forget to pull the plug. You know, in standby mode, little bit of current the instrument is consuming. So pull the plug from the wall. Maybe that is the first thing I can teach you about combating big climate change. You pull the plug. That's very symbolic. We pull the plug on climate change. That's good for you. So this is my information. My name is Rayappa Kasi. My phone number is that. My email, rayappa.kasi15@gmail.com. I have a website, www.planets. In the middle, there is yes. Be careful, planetchaser.com. Yes in the middle. And then you open the website and go for downloads. You find 14 books. Everything is on ecology and the environment. Especially one book teaches you how to adapt. So I think these are the resources one could use. They are all absolutely free. No money is involved. You can download into your computer and you can give to your children to read and employ the process of adaptation. Good luck. Our definition is, again, I want to remind you, what is the definition of life? Life is defined by adaptation, adaptation, adaptation. Thank you. God bless.
No, I can't. I know you ended. I finished. A big thank you to Father Rayappa Kasi for his very thought-provoking and inspiring message today. Thank you, dear friends, for being with us. We hope that you enjoyed the program as much as we have enjoyed in bringing it to you. Thank you once again and hope to connect with you soon. Thank you.
Catherine madam, you end the meeting, no? Catherine madam,
Yes, sir.
end the meeting.
Okay.
Oh, Glynis is muted.
No.
Prabhu.
I'm telling to Catherine madam.
Unmute Glynis.
No, that is okay.
Okay, I will end the meeting now.
End the meeting.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it, no? Okay.